Hello everyone, my name is Karan Sachdeva and I am here to discuss one of the very important technical indicator known as Ichimoku Cloud. Well, let me make it very clear. Once we progress along the session, the initial part of the learning might feel very bookish and technical, but believe me this is a very simple yet effective indicator to use and make good profits. One very important insight that I would like you all to know is that the accuracy of using and trading through this indicator is as high as 80%. Well, 80% is a huge number when it comes to stock market. Anyway, let's not wait further and start this session right away. So let's start with the introduction. What is Ichimoku Cloud? Well, Ichimoku Cloud, or its original name Ichimoku King Ho, is a collection of technical indicators that show support and resistance level, as well as momentum and trend direction. Well, it's a confluence, which uses support, resistance levels, the momentum, and the trend direction of the stock. And how does it do it? It does so by taking multiple averages and plotting them on a chart. Well, it's interesting to know who developed it. Well, the Ichimoku Cloud was developed by a Japanese journalist, Mr. Goichi Hosara, in the year 1969. That's almost 61 years ago. And what's the most important thing to know here? That is still widely used in the trading fraternity. So you might imagine how important and how strong this indicator is. Well, it provides more data point than the normal candlestick chart. And you might be surprised to know that the candlestick chart was also developed by a Japanese trader. Anyway, let's talk about the Ichimoku Cloud composition. What does it comprise of? Well, Ichimoku Cloud comprises of 5 lines, which are calculated using price of a stock over varied time period. So the lines included a 9-period average, a 26-period average, an average of those two averages, that is the 9-period average and a 26-period average, a 52-period average, and a lagging closing price level. Well, don't get too confused. I'll make it very simple and effective and clear for you in the further session. Well, the cloud is a key part which tells us the strength of the indicators, which we identify by analyzing the above lines. Well, as the name suggests, Ichimoku Cloud. What does the cloud do? Well, the cloud is a key part, right, which tells us the strength. So the lines above which we discussed tells us the indicators, and the cloud, if moving in the direction of the indicators, will tell us the strength of the indicators. Okay, so the trend signals given by analyzing the above lines are strengthened, right, if the cloud is moving in the same direction as the price. Well, now let's talk about the different lines. The first and the foremost is the conversion line. So the conversion line is made up of the average of the 9-period high and 9-period low price. So if we analyze a stock on a daily chart, this line is the midpoint of a 9-day high-low range, which is approximately 2 weeks, right? And how is it calculated? It is calculated as 9-period high and 9-period low, a simple average of both the prices, right? What does it signify? Because it's a small period line, it signifies the short-term trend of a stock, correct? Now let's go to the another line. The next line is the baseline. It's the second of the 5 elements of the Ichimoku Cloud. So the baseline is made up of the average of a 26-period high and a 26-period low price, as against 9-period high and low price of a conversion line. So similarly, on a daily chart, this line is the midpoint of a 26-day high-low range, which is approximately 1 month, right? And how is it calculated? Similarly, it's a simple average of a 26-period high and a low price. Because it is a 26-period price line, it signifies the mid-term trend of a stock. Next is the lagging span. It's the third element, right? It is a close plotted 26 days in the past. What does it signify? It signifies a long trend of a stock. Now don't get too confused. I'll make it very simple. Trust me on this. Next is the leading span A. It's the fourth element. and one of the element which will create a cloud. So this is the midpoint between the conversion line and the baseline which we discussed in the earlier slides. So leading span A forms one of the two cloud boundaries, right? It is referred to as leading because it is plotted 26 periods in the future and forms the faster cloud boundary. Okay. Now let's come to leading span B. It's the last element of the Ichimoku cloud. This is the midpoint of the 52-day high-low range, which is a little less than 3 months. The value of the leading span B is plotted 26 periods in the future and forms a slower cloud boundary. A cloud is created using leading span A and leading span B, right? So what does a cloud signify? So if the color of the cloud is green, it is understood that the strength of the indicators is good. And what are indicators? So indicators are something which we analyze and which we identify using the above three lines which we discussed, right? And if those indicators are supported by a green cloud, that shows the strengthness, it strengthens our analysis of the indicators. Similarly, if the color of the cloud is red, the strength of the signal is weak, right? One very important point to remember here: if the stock price is moving inside the cloud, right, then that's a no trading zone. We'll not take any trade using this indicator if the price of a stock is moving inside the cloud. It's a very, very important point to remember, right? Now, all said and done, now let's understand how to trade using Ichimoku, right? As Ichimoku uses 5 elements to give buy and sell signals, it is considered as the most dynamic indicator. You don't have to apply, multiple indicators. You just have to rely and analyze one indicator which is comprised of technically 5 other indicators. So price of a stock, the conversion line and the baseline are used to identify faster and more frequent signals. It is important to remember that bullish signals are reinforced when prices are above the cloud and the cloud is green. So green color shows bullishness. Similarly, bearish signals are reinforced when prices are below the cloud and the cloud is red. In other words, bullish signals are preferred when the bigger trend is up, while bearish signals are preferred when the bigger trend is down. Now, what does it mean? Say you identify a trend of a stock, right? And the stock is trending in an upward direction. Now you will always look to trade in an upward direction because the major trend of a stock is an upward. Similarly, if a stock is an uptrend and you are using Ichimoku, it's better to use bullish signals and trade on them to increase your accuracy and make good profits. So this is the essence of trading in the direction of a bigger trend. Signals that are counter to the existing trend are deemed weaker, such as short-term bullish signals within a long-term downtrend or vice versa. That is short-term bearish signals within a long-term uptrend. Well, that's too much knowledge, right? Let's make it more clear and more simple for you. How to identify bullish signals? So following are the bullish signals when trading with the help of Ichimoku Cloud. So price of a stock moves above cloud. That's the first point to note. Second point, cloud turns from red to green. What's the third point? The third point is price move above the baseline, right? And what's the last point to note? That the conversion line moves above the baseline. That is, it crosses the baseline. Now I'll make it very simple and I'll explain you better when we look at some examples. Okay. So the first example is of Reliance Industries Limited, right? So I have plotted the names and I have shown you the various lines which we discussed in the earlier slides, right? So the line with the blue color is the conversion line. That's the 9-day period high low, right? The red line basically is the baseline. That is a 26-day high and low. Now the green line at the top is the lagging span, and I believe you can see the cloud, right? And the cloud, you can see the cloud turning from red to green, right? So where do you see a bullish signal in this chart? Well, I have make it clear for you and easier for you. You can see the arrow at around this level, the cloud turned green from red, right? Now, this is a very important zone. The price of the stock is trading above the baseline, right? The lagging span is above the stock price, right? And if you can see clearly and more closely, the conversion line has just crossed the baseline. So this is a very good point to enter into a stock with a bullish signal. That is a buy. So if someone would have bought Reliance at this level, which is approximately 1500 levels, he could have earned easily 600 points and could have squared his trade at around 2100 levels, right? So you have to hold your trade till the time the lagging span doesn't cross or cut your stock price, or the stock price moves below the baseline, or the color of the cloud turns red from green. So you can hold your stock and your trade till that level. Now let's go to another chart. Next chart is Bajaj Finance Limited. Again, I have plotted it for your ease. Now, if you look at this level, right, this is around a level of 3150, correct? So now what does it signify? The cloud color has turned green from red. The price of a stock is trading above the baseline. The conversion line has already crossed the baseline here. The lagging span is already above the stock price. Now, if one would have entered here, he could have easily got a target of 3450. That is a profit of 300 points. Correct? Now, this is the power of this indicator. Right? It gives you good profits and gives you profits with more accuracy. Now, let's go to another chart. Next chart is Tata Motors Limited. Right? Now, let's look at this level. The price is now trading above the baseline, because if you see the previous candle, the price was still trading below the baseline. That's why I have chosen this level to enter into this trade. Now the lagging span is have been above the stock price. That is good for us. The color of the cloud has turned green here from red. That is another point to note. And now we finally enter into this trade here when the price started trading above the baseline. Now the conversion line has already crossed the baseline around this level, right? So if one would have entered this trade at this level at around 112, he could have easily achieved a target of 130 odd levels, correct? One more example for you to make it more clear of Maruti Suzuki Limited. Now this is again a very good entry level. The cloud has turned green from red. The price is trading above the baseline. The conversion line has crossed the baseline here, and the lagging span is above the stock price. So if one would have entered the trade here at around price of 5800, he could have easily achieved a target of 6800. That's a 1000 points target. That's huge, right? Now we discussed the bullish signals. Now let's go to the bearish signals. So bearish signals are nothing but just opposite of bullish signals. So the price moves below the cloud. Cloud turns from green to red as against red to green. Price moves below the baseline and the conversion lines moves below the baseline as well. let's now again look at some examples. Now I have taken here an example of Apple just to make it very clear, and just to make it very clear that this indicator works on all the charts across the globe, right? So let's look at this level. Now at this level, the color of the cloud has changed from green to red, right? The stock price is trading below the baseline, and the lagging span is below the stock price. And if you closely see the conversion line, it has crossed the baseline from upward direction around here, right? So all our conditions are being met, and we finally take a trade here. That is around a level of 45. Now if someone would have shorted this Apple stock here, he could have easily got a target of around 38. That's a 7-point target. Now let's move to another stock, which is Cipla Limited. Again, I have chosen this area to take a trade, because the color of the cloud has turned red from green. The stock price is trading below the baseline, and the lagging span is also trading below the stock price. Also, the conversion line has crossed the baseline from above. So if now one would have shorted Cipla here at a level of 520, he could have easily achieved a target of around 450. That's a 70-point target again. It's a very good target. Next is Yes Bank Limited. Well, it has always been my favorite to short. I would have again shorted this at this level, because the color of the cloud has turned red from green here. The stock price is trading below the baseline. The conversion line has crossed the baseline from above, and the lagging span is again trading below the stock price. So if one would have shorted stock here at a price of around 150, he could have easily achieved a target up to here, which is 60. That's almost around 100 points, right? One last example for bearish signals, IndusInd Bank Limited, right? Now this at this level, the color of the cloud has turned red from green. The stock price is again trading below the baseline. The conversion line has crossed the baseline from above, and the lagging span is again below the stock price. Again, one would have easily shorted the stock at this level around 1300, could have easily achieved a target of around 400. If you take 500 even, that's almost 800 points. That's huge, right? Now, as I already discussed, there is a no trade zone if you analyze and use this indicator, right? So if the stock price is between the cloud, no trading opportunities should be explored. Let's look at a couple of examples of this as well. Again, I have come up with an international stock, Amazon Incorporation. So its recent price is moving inside the cloud, is as you can clearly see, right? Now, as long as it stays between the cloud, we'll not initiate any trade, right? Similarly, let's take another example, ACC Limited. Again, its recent price is moving between the cloud, right? So it's a no trade zone. We will not trade in this stock until and unless it moves outside the cloud. Now, which now it has, correct? So that's all from this session. I hope you understood it very clearly and you will use it effectively in your trading and make good profits. Remember, accuracy of this indicator is as high as 80%. I really wish and I really hope you all will use this indicator to the best knowledge of yourself and to the best benefit of yourself. Thanks a lot. Take care.